So the other night I was sitting here and I was watching TV, and there was something on about the new Nazis of America. Well, I became intrigued because I thought these bastards died off a long, long time ago when Hitler, like a little bitch, killed himself. So continued to watch it, and there's this guy on there, and he was like, "Yeah, I got into being a Nazi and being a fascist because of punk rock," and that right there set me off. I was like, "How the hell do you gather from punk rock? How do you gather from let's destroy the government? How do you gather let's hate on some minorities? You know, I just don't get it. I believe all the punk rock that this guy grew up on pretty much spoke against being a fascist. And I mean, this guy really pissed me off, and he was talking about how his punk band was out there to save the world. You know what? His band is not punk. If you believe in fascism, if you believe in enslaving another race, if you think the whites are dominant, if you think your shit don't stink, you're a fucking moron. I mean, he's talking about how he hates the immigrants and how he wants to go to Mexico and shoot all of them. Guess what? You're a fucking immigrant. If anybody out there is a white supremacist, follow your fucking leader. Adolf Hitler, he shoved a cyanide capsule up his ass and then blew his brains out because he's a bitch. If you think enslaving another race or any of that shit is the right thing to do, you're fucking wrong. I mean, I don't give a shit about your combat boots. I don't give a shit about your tiny red suspenders or your bald head. You look like a fucking dick with ears. That's what you look like. I don't want anybody out there to get the wrong idea. I'm going to be very clear about this. Being a Nazi is being a piece of shit. And I don't care what anybody out there says or to try to condone being a white supremacist. You're a fucking idiot. There's some old guy who hides out in a bunker and does this radio show, and he said, "Oh, today's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. You're off work. Why don't you call it whatever the fucking assassin's name that shot Martin Luther King Jr. Day is?" Now, here's what's funny. He's talking about how, he's proud and the whites are going to wage war against all these other ethnic people. If you're so proud, why are you hiding in a bunker and doing this over the internet where nobody can see your face? He was blurred out the whole show. Then there was another guy who teaches martial arts for the white supremacists. If a bunch of skinheads are going to attack, they're going to attack in a big group. They're not going to fight one-on-one because they're nothing but cowards. And there's nothing more sad than a bunch of cowards thinking they are something supreme compared to everyone else. They were talking about how the blacks, it's all their fault that people are addicted to drugs. You know what? People make their own decisions. People get addicted to drugs by themselves, whether their dealer is white, black, yellow, green, or purple. They went to a bridge where local junkies hang out, and they went up to this guy and said, "Are you on drugs?" And he said, "Well, yeah, I am." And they beat him to death so this guy's pregnant girlfriend could get her red shoestrings, which means she committed a violent crime. That's about the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. And then when you find out what drugs the guy's on, he was a schizophrenic. He was on drugs to keep himself right in the head, but he wasn't right in the head. And before he could say that he was on drugs to level out his mind, they killed him. They put his mouth open on a railroad track and jumped on it. They curb stomped it. It was 4 of them and one small guy. And they're proud of that, so some pregnant whore could get red shoestrings. I'm pretty open-minded about the way I feel about things, but my belief, if they believe in hating somebody of a different color, of a different creed, because somebody's different, I believe that when that baby is born, it is given to a minority family. raised as a minority and taught to hate fascists, taught to hate anybody that thinks they're better than somebody else. I don't care who you are. You're never going to be better than anybody else. If you have $1 million, that just means you have more money. But you're the same person. It's all skin. It's all blood. Everybody has a soul. Everybody makes who they are. Nothing matters on the outside. It matters who you are as a person. A lot of people out there could be like, well, hey, we don't like you. You look funny. You look like you're a criminal. Guess what? I'm not. I'm a professional tattoo artist. I'm a game server. I'm a magician. By looking at me, could you tell any of those things? No, you think I'm a street punk. You think I'm out there to rage havoc. You know what? I mean, I've kind of lost my belief in the American government. But I'm not out there burning down the White House. And I'm not going to. Because your words are more powerful than your actions. The mind is what sets all of us apart. And when you say you're better than another race, you're ignorant. You're just off the wall fucking retarded. And I don't give two shits about anybody out there who thinks they're better than somebody else. When I was younger, I got picked on a lot. And then when I started growing up, I realized I don't have to take the shit. And the moment I quit taking the shit was the moment my life started getting a little bit better. That's when I started taking up for the little guys. You know, if you're out there and you think you're better, take a look around. If you think you're better and you have to brag about all this shit, obviously you're compensating for something that's missing in your life. Why don't you take your time, if you're so high and mighty, why don't you take your time to help somebody else out? Instead of putting everybody down because you're so fucking high and mighty. You know, everybody's talking about the election and all this shit. Everybody needs to realize all the bullshit that we're going through can be stopped. You know what, if you think President Bush has power, if you think John McCain has power, you think Barack Obama has power, everyone out there has the power. You're the one that puts these people into office. You're the one that votes and lets them pass the bullshit bills that fuck us over a little bit more. You have the power, not them. And if people realize that they have the power to stand up against injustice, things will go a little bit smoother.